Good evening, Hawks fans, and welcome back to the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you directly after a 133 to 126 loss to the Charlotte Hornets. Let's get into how all of that happened. Offense and defense for the Hawks, offensive and defense for the Hornets. Then we'll go player by player. So, my initial thoughts are this Trae Young-led offense is going to work. When he was on the floor, we scored very easily all the time because, again, Jalen was aggressive. Jalen had 43 points tonight. And when you have a player that draws the attention, like Trae Young does, and then Jalen doesn't have that attention on him, he gets straight to the rim and lays it in. And then they finally shift over and he throws a lob to Moget. Every time they were on the floor, the offense was seamless and easy. We had Nall wide open for a bunch of open threes. We had a bunch of lobs. We had a bunch of dunks. We had a bunch of confusion from their defense because, again, Trae is able to absorb that pressure. And teams run pressure at Trae because if you do not run pressure at him, he will turn the corner. The point of sending two at him is to make sure he can't turn the corner, get downhill, because if he does, he's going to get to his floater. You're going to foul him a lot. He's going to get a lot of free throws. You are going to then try to step up and keep him from turning the corner, and he will throw lobs on you. And there will also be open three-point shooters. So teams are desperate to not let him turn the corner, so they send two-man actions at the pick and roll. Well, tonight, Trae did such a wonderful job finding out, okay, they are now going to blitz me. I am going to, take that pressure in, and then I'm going to hit Jalen on the short roll, and Jalen just crucified them. Every time they did that, to the point where I could see on Charles Lee's face, he's trying to find a way to stop this, and he doesn't know how. Because there really is not a way. I mean, if you cannot keep Trae from turning the corner, he will score, or we will score, every single possession. So all of Trae's 10 assists in 20 minutes came from, I turned the corner and found an open guy, boom. And then if you stopped him from turning the corner, well, now Jalen is a freight train going downhill, and it was very effective. The offense is going to be just fine. Now, defensively, we really played horrid for the first three quarters on defense. And I'm going to get into what I think we could do to help that. But it was bad. We were not rotating, and we were giving up wide open jumpers. And as we've talked about on this podcast many a time, if you give up an open jumper, like I could do my taxes while trying to think about shooting this jumper. If you give up one of those in the NBA, it is going in. Every time, without a question asked. It's going in. We gave up a lot of those tonight. In fact, I believe they said on the broadcast, this was the most three-pointers made by the Charlotte Hornets all season. Huge problem. You have to rotate, you have to have energy, and you have to communicate. There were a bunch of times where they set a screen and Zion James, let's say, for example, comes off the screen, gets in the paint, kicks it to a three-point shooter. We have two guys thinking about going and, closing out on this shooter, and then they both see that they're both going, and they both stop. And nobody says a word. Nobody says, hey, I got it. It's me. I'm out there. Nobody communicates. They get a wide open three. Bang. We're down 18. When you are on defense, communication is extraordinarily key, and tonight the defensive communication was pitiful. So, how do we fix it? Well, there were two stints tonight where the defense was pretty good. Really three. I'll say three. The first one was the second half of the first quarter. At the 6-minute mark in the first quarter, they had scored 24 points, which puts them on pace for 48 points in the quarter. By the end of the quarter, they had scored 35, meaning that for the second half, of the first quarter, they only scored 11 points. Subsequently, that was the minutes that Mo Gay played. And if you go back and watch the game and look for Mo Gay's minutes, I would like anyone who cares about the Hawks to go watch tonight's game, just Mo Gay's 10 minutes. And I want you to look and see how much he's pointing, how much he's communicating, and how much he is instructing the entire defense to do what they're supposed to do. He's pointing at people, hey, that's you. Hey, close out there. Hey, I got this one. Hey, switch. You can see him talking on the broadcast. You can see him pointing. You can see him conducting the defense as if it was an orchestra. Every time. Every defensive possession. In the second half, in the third quarter, this second half of the third quarter, again, subsequently, Mo Gay's minutes, the Charlotte Hornets went on an almost 5-minute long stretch where they did not score a point. And then in the fourth quarter, with about 9 minutes left till the end of the game, the defense was really wonderful. And that didn't have Mo Gay in the game. And so that proves to me that it doesn't have to have Mo Gay in the game to have good defense being played. But having Mo Gay in the game does significantly help the probability that you will have good defensive possessions. Moving to Charlotte's offense and defense. Offensively, this team is hyper-dependent on Kon Knueppel and LaMelo Ball. Tonight they were amazing, and so they scored a lot of points. If they don't, it can be rough at times. Brandon Miller has not been super amazing this year. He's a good player. He played well tonight. He shot the ball pretty well, but again, he's a play finisher only. Doesn't really get his own shot very often, and quite honestly, I don't see super high level star potential in Brandon Miller's offense. Kon Knueppel, he's going to be really special. He's a really good player. And he, I believe, will be the guy who's their lead guard, their engine, for a long time to come, because I think they're going to move off of LaMelo Ball. Huge contract, never healthy. It's just not worth keeping him on the roster at this point because, again, the price tag is astronomically high. But they're super hyper-dependent on Kon and on LaMelo. Moving forward for them, I would try to get off the LaMelo money. I'd try to get off the Bridges money. I think Kalkbrenner is going to be a really good player in the NBA. I would have Brandon Miller be my play finisher. I would have Knueppel be my engine. I would try to get a nice 3-and-D piece in, maybe trade for Trey Murphy, trade for one of those guys, your great 3-and-D options. And then you're going to need a stopper. I think that could be Moussa Diabate. He is fantastic. I also think it could be Zion James. He also played very well, very good defender. Or you could, move into the free agent or trade pool. You could go get Herb Jones. You could go get those kind of players. They're out there, and I think New Orleans is going to blow it up. So Herb Jones is probably going to be available. But I think they're moving in the right direction as long as they're willing to move on from players that are taking up a significant portion of the salary cap and are not very beneficial towards winning games a lot consistently. Defensively, they are very bad. Kalkbrenner is really bad. Diabate is pretty good on defense, but they don't communicate, and we sliced and diced their defense tonight. And if our defense had been better, we'd have blown them out. So, now moving to the player-by-player portion of tonight's proceedings. We had, let's see here, all 10 of the players who I expected to play played. The one guy who did not get a participating minute in tonight's game that had been playing was Keaton Wallace. Keaton Wallace got a DNP coach's decision, and everybody else was at College Park. So, starting off, we'll talk about Asa Newell. Asa had 10 minutes. He scored 3 points. He had a rebound and an assist. but he was minus 12. Tonight, we continued to give Asa the secondary, now third string center role. I don't know why we're playing three centers. If we're going to play Mo Gay at center behind Okongwu, he's the backup center. Just play him. There were terrible times on defense where, there was a portion in the second quarter where Kennard and Asa were on the floor where we went minus 19 in half a quarter, basically. It was pitiful. And there were 4 or 5 possessions in a row where I literally watched Asa Newell stand around and not know where he was supposed to be while they made a wide open three. Like, he had no clue where he was supposed to be. He had no clue what his job was. He had no clue who he was supposed to be picking up. He didn't talk. He didn't ask. He didn't, try to figure it. He just stood there and watched them make an open three. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. I do not want to get twisted. I really, really, really like Asa Newell. I think he's going to be a really good player in the NBA. I talked about how next year I want him to be in the rotation every game. But right now, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know where to be on defense. He's giving up wide open three-pointers when he's not picking up the correct person in transition. He's not guarding pick and rolls correctly, so he's giving up dunks. He's not paying attention to back cuts, so he's giving up dunks. He's not rotating and being the tertiary defender who's protecting the rim, so he's giving up dunks. He's getting dunked on and giving up threes over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we're not learning that he needs time to learn the defense in the G League. Go play him in the G League and let him learn the defense. He doesn't know where to be. He looks completely lost. Tonight, we lost this game in the second quarter during that minus 19 run with Asa on the floor and not playing Mo Gay. After he had just played a 6-minute stretch where they only scored 11 points in the entirety of that 6 minutes. Then the next 6 minutes, we went minus 19. It is absolutely crazy to me to not play Mo Gay over Asa Newell right now. I have said it many times, and I'm going to keep saying it. But when, not if, when Quinn Snyder is fired, it will be because of his rotations. He does not know what players need to be playing and what players do not need to be playing. Let's be honest about it. Opening night, Mohamed Gay, Vit Krejci, 2 of the most valuable players on our team, both got a DNP. Right now, we are still playing Luke Kennard, who we're going to get to. And I have lots of thoughts about that one too. We're playing players who absolutely do not deserve to be on the court based upon the merit of what they've done in the season. When you watch the team play, it is absurd to be playing Mohamed Gay only 10 minutes and also be playing Asa Newell only 10 minutes. Asa needs 0 with how bad his defense is right now. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be good. But right now, today, 0 minutes for Asa Newell is what he deserves based on the merit of what he's done on the floor. Mohamed Gay deserves over 20 based upon the merits of what he's done on the floor. Yet, we're not doing that. The rotations are pitiful. They're pitiful. And when he gets fired, it will be because of games like today, when we're the 9 seed again, because we have 15 games in the year where the rotation specifically lost us the basketball game. Where it was who played and when lost us the basketball game. That's what happened tonight. Moving on to Mo Gay. I've already talked about how well he played on defense. I'm just going to read his stat line. He had 4 points on 2 of 3 from the field. He didn't record another stat. I don't care. The defense was amazing. And he was one of 2 players with a positive plus-minus. He was +4 in his minutes. Luke Kennard played 14 minutes. He had 4 points on 1 of 2 shooting. He made 1 3 and 1 free throw. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist. He had a turnover. And he was -12. Luke Kennard's defense is awful. It is awful. And right now, Vit Krejci is outplaying him in every way. I do not care how much money Luke Kennard makes. He is not playing at a level of a rotation level player on a team that's trying to win basketball games at a high level. Often, you'll hear me talk about the sunk cost fallacy. The Falcons are going through it right now, where the people will say, well, we got to try and we got to do everything we can because we're going to give up that first round pick and the Rams are going to get a really high pick. Stop. We already traded the pick. Don't make a future decision based on a past decision. So don't go, oh, well, because we made this past decision, now we shouldn't do this because look what happened there. Well, we're doing that right now with the Hawks, with Luke Kennard. We're saying we just gave this man $11 million, so we need to play him. That's a sunk cost. That $11 million, it's not going to work out. He's not worth that money. He needs to not play. And you don't need to think about the contract in terms of whether or not he plays. He should not play. He is playing horrible. He's a turnstile, and he will not shoot the ball, and he's not attacking. He's not being aggressive. He's not rebounding. He adds nothing. And we're giving him 14 minutes a night. Again, in the first half, when Asa and Kennard were on the floor together, we were -19 in 6 minutes. He doesn't need to be playing, neither does Asa. He's the worst defender on our team, and that is unacceptable because we get Trae Young. I love Trae, but in order for us to be the best team we could possibly be, it has to be blatantly obvious that Trae Young is the worst defender on the team. And right now, Asa and Luke are both worse than him, by far, defensively. That is unacceptable. Moving on, we will talk about Vit Krejci. Vit played 23 minutes. He had 5 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 3 from the field, or 1 of 3 from 3. He had 3 rebounds and finished the game -7. Again, a lot of that was when Kennard was on the floor as well. He played very well when he was with the other starters and with other full rotation players. He played very well. But you play a lineup with Vit Krejci and Luke Kennard and Asa Newell, you ain't getting a stop. You couldn't stop my grandmother with that lineup. That's the kind of thing I will never understand that Quinn Snyder does. Because that lineup's not even good on offense. Kennard, the point guard, is not getting it done right now. I know that was the plan going into the year. It's not working. So, stop doing it. I don't get it. Reminds me of Zach Robinson. Run the pistol on every play. And then when they know exactly what we're doing, we're going to run wham. We're going to move Charlie Warner in motion, and we're going to run a wham play. Every single down, it seems like. Yeah, I wonder why it didn't work. Stop doing the things that aren't working and do other things that are. Nickeil Alexander-Walker played 34 minutes. He had 28 points on 18 shots. Wonderful efficiency. 8 rebounds, 2 assists to 3 turnovers. Again, the turnover to assist ratio is bad for all, but he played really wonderful tonight. He had a +23 on the game. That guy probably could have used some of those Luke Kennard minutes. And we're going to get to another guy who played pretty stinking well, who also could have used those Luke Kennard minutes. Moving to the starters, let's go ahead and get to him. Zachary Chaussee had 20 minutes on the game. That's it. He only played 20 minutes. He had 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting, but had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, a turnover, was -9. He was on the floor in the stint without Asa that was very bad at the beginning of the game, and then was on the floor at the stint the beginning of the third quarter that also was not very good when we came out of the halftime lackadaisical. We had to figure out what's happening with that because every time we start a game, it just really, we're in a hole. But if you just took from those out, he was very positive. And we started the game on a 8-0 run for the other team. So, I mean, he was -9 basically for the rest of the game. After that, he played pretty even. He just needs to play more. He's playing well. The defense looks great. The shot is still a little off, but overall, I don't care. He's playing well. The defense is fantastic. And the offense is working. That's the thing I don't understand is like, the offense is we're scoring 130 points in a game, 126. Like, the offense is fine. We need people who get stops. Right now, Zach's getting stops. So play Zach. Doesn't make any sense to me. Next, we'll go ahead and talk about Trey, because Trey did only play 20 minutes. He had 8 points. He was 0 of 5 from 3, which I kind of figured first game back at NBA speed, it's going to be hard to knock down shots. He had 1 rebound, but he had 10 assists, only 3 turnovers. He did have a steal and was only -3 in his minutes. Played very well. Looked like Trey Young, except for he missed some shots. Honestly, he didn't play really he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, and he hardly played in the third quarter. I think he would have ended the game easily with 20 points and 15 assists if he would have been playing the whole game. We win the game if Trey plays his full minutes allocation, but it doesn't matter because right now the process of what we're doing rotations-wise is the reason why we're losing games. We win this game if we just play different rotations, even if Trey's only playing 20 minutes. So somebody is going to say in the comments, "Oh, we only lost because Trey." No, we need to fix the process issues that are happening over and over and over and over again because our process is just bad right now of who we decide to play when. Next, we'll talk about Dyson. Dyson played 32 minutes. He had 14 points on 6 of 12 shooting. He had 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, but finished the game -13. Another example where they threw a center at Dyson Daniels all night. They did not guard him with a single player that was not a center all game long, and he could not punish them well enough. And so we struggled when Dyson was on the floor. And then when they couldn't deploy that coverage, when we put Nall on the floor, we blew them off the floor. Again, he was +23 because he can make jumpers. Dyson's got to get in the gym and got to be making jumpers. I talked about this earlier, but it's very famous that Kobe Bryant would have like 3-hour-long practices by himself with his shooting trainer every single day, no matter what. Game day, don't care. Practice day, don't care. Off day, don't care. He was in the gym getting up shots with his shooting trainer because he wanted to make jumpers at a high level. That's something we've got to have from Dyson Daniels, bar none. He's got to get in the gym. He's got to get the shooting stuff figured out. It's very flat. The rotation is very bad. Every shot he shoots is short because it's so flat. Just put more arc on it. I do not understand. Please get in the gym and shoot more jump shots. Moving on to Onyeka Okongwu. Onyeka played 36 minutes. He had 12 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. It was -4. Overall, Onyeka played very well. He was, basically a net zero. He had the one spurt at the beginning of the game kind of cost him, and then he was +5 the rest of the game. And so I just think that Onyeka right now is kind of falling behind because it looks like he's not playing well because for the rest of the game, we're giving up just berating the rim. And then you look at the end of the game and you're like, well, the defense must have been bad in the paint. That must be Onyeka's fault. And it's like, no, Onyeka played very well tonight, especially defensively. But it doesn't matter because every time he comes off the floor, if Mo Gay's on the floor, we give up 12 straight points that are dunks. Stop playing guys who can't get stops. I do not get it. I'll never understand it. I have said for multiple years, for people who know me, I would put a team together where Trae Young is by far and away the worst defender. If you couldn't play defense better than Trae, you didn't play. Ever. Well, we play at least 2 of them. If not 3, because Veet's kind of close. Moving on to the last player, Jalen Johnson. Played 39 minutes. He had 43 points on 27 shots, 4 of 9 from 3. He had 11 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 turnovers. A little high on the turnover number, but overall, he played fantastic. He was -2 in the game. He took over in the fourth quarter. And I said earlier to somebody I was talking to, I said, our closer closed this game. He played so good. The guy we had on the floor, usually our closer is Trae, but tonight he wasn't playing in the fourth quarter because he had hit his minutes limit. So tonight our closer was Jalen, and he closed. He went crazy. He scored so many points in a row. He took the game over. But guess what? So did theirs. Their closer closed too. LaMelo played great in the fourth quarter. He made a bunch of superstar level shots. And because we'd already built up a deficit, we couldn't overcome it. You cannot do that in the NBA. You can't be like, here's a 15-point lead, guys. Now, we're going to try to catch up. That's like trying to do that to Usain Bolt. If you give him a 15-step lead, you're never going to catch him. Ever. We did not tie or lead the game 1 minute after a point was scored. Not one time did we even tie them. It is impossible to spot somebody this much points. We do it every night. And a lot of times it's because of decisions made in the rotation. Tonight was a coaching failure. We had our coach get brutally outcoached by their head coach. And their head coach is basically a nobody. I like Charles Lee, but nobody's out here thinking that Charles Lee is Eric Spoelstra. We got destroyed in the coaching department tonight. And that is what cost us the game. Now, moving forward, we have San Antonio tomorrow. I don't know if Trae will play. It's a back-to-back, first day off injury. They're usually pretty careful about that sort of stuff, but I don't know. Like I said, again, we're playing again tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know about everything, your thoughts on everything I said. Keep me up to date. Ask any questions you have. Just do all the YouTube stuff. You know how it works. And above all else, I hope you have a great day.